Welcome to the October 18th meeting of the Ware Board of Selectmen. We started at 6:45 with non-public with a retired employee. It brings us to 7 o'clock for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comment.
No, go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Sean Hilliard. I live on Woodbury here in Ware, and as some of you probably know, I'm also the principal over at the school across the street, the Upper Elementary and Ware Middle School. I just wanted to take a moment during public comment to bring my concerns about the two sinkholes that are now in front of the school board. And I do understand, I'll give you a little historical perspective from me. I'm not a specialist at all in this, just from where I'm standing, the perspective that I have. Tom Weston is our head of maintenance. When the first one started, he did reach out to both the town and the state, and at that time, what he at least communicated to me was the state was very clear saying it was the town's responsibility, and the town was very clear it was saying it was the state's responsibility. I assumed, for lack of a better word, that there'd be some dialogue and ultimately something would happen to repair those. We now have two sinkholes versus the one. I, early fall, did also reach out to the state wondering if I could help push this conversation along, and was told the same information that Tom had been told, that in fact 114 is a highway, and typically there's a 15-foot setback from the center line that is the responsibility of the state. But because this is on a sidewalk, their stand, not mine, is that it's the town's responsibility, because once it's on a sidewalk, it becomes the town's. I've reached out a few times over here to the office, haven't had a chance to have a direct conversation. But again, I just wanted to bring it to your folks' attention, have it on public record. If you were to go over and look, it is expanding, and it's expanding towards, from my untrained eye, expanding towards the bus loop. And that's a really heavy vehicle, right? And so really my concern is for the safety of our community. I have no idea where the reality lies legality-wise, but I would just respectfully ask whether it's even getting the town lawyer involved, but it feels like this needs, someone has to take responsibility and begin those repairs.
Are you still running the bus down that road?
It's on what, the bus loop, so
Yep,
the circular part, yeah, that's the only place, because of the way our pickup goes, our buses must pick up on that bus loop. That's the way dismissal, if you've ever tried to get to my school during dismissal or drop-off, what would consider the front side, the playground side is actually our front side, that is back-to-back cars with parents dropping off. And so first, it's always been that way, but it really is the only place I have room for the buses. So again, I'm not the expert. I'm just respectfully asking, and if there is anything I can do somehow to help this be taken care of, I would greatly appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you for your time
Thank
this
you.
evening.
Anybody else for public comment? Frank?
Thank you. Frank Campana. I see on the agenda tonight, down towards the bottom, there's either appointment or discussion for a member to the Conservation Commission. I'm not speaking, to the defense of that person, but as I stated several meetings ago, along the same subject of appointments to a couple of different boards or commissions. When you folks, as a reminder, when you take your oath of office, what are the words? Faithfully and impartially perform the duties incumbent upon you folks. So you're going to have a chance again tonight to show the public, your impartial decision, or not decision, but your impartial process towards your decision. And if you think you can't be impartial, I think personally, I think you've already set the record to me that you can't be. But if you feel that you can't be, you probably ought to tender your resignation. Thank you.
All right, any other public comment?
Well, if you want to say something, can I have public comment?
Both sides.
My name's Ken Bednars. You probably don't know me. I've been in town for quite a number of years. I'm speaking in support of a potential purchase of 80 acres owned by Nelson Barden. I've lived on that land for about 35 years. I'll be leaving, of course. And I just wanted to highly recommend it as a piece that has really invaluable variety of wildlife habitat on there. You have upland areas. You have a stream with a beaver pond running through there that supports a large population of wildlife, including successful breeding of wood ducks there for at least the past dozen years. Also beaver, muskrat, otter, mink, occasional moose come through there. There's also a significant area of wetlands and vernal pools that support breeding amphibians, including wood frogs, spotted salamanders. During the year, when I go out snowshoeing and keeping an eye on the place, you'll see tracks of everything from snowshoe hare, fisher, bobcat, both kinds of foxes, coyotes. So it's a really valuable area. I would say that I do know that the current owner, Nelson, is in his 80s now, and he is, getting pressed for time and selling the property and moving on. He's been self-employed all his life, so this is about what he's got for his retirement. So I know that the wheels of this grind slowly sometimes, but I do detect that Nelson's getting a little bit frustrated. Time is not endless for somebody in their 80s. And I would hate to see this slip through our fingers, due to maybe, I guess the best way to put it is a lack of flexibility. Okay. So I think that pretty much sums up what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tom?
Several things related to the project that's going on in front of the town hall. I don't know if you've driven
Good.
by it, but the wall is pretty much complete. They were capping it today. But in working on it, when they dug the trench to start the wall, the debris that was in it and so forth from the old stuff that was there, they had to go deeper. So it ended up meaning that they had to put another course of I was going to say stone, but blocks in. And along with that came extra material and labor costs. So it's going to be about $1,000 more. I'll go back to the trustees and see if they're willing to support that, but I want you to be aware of it. Today they were doing the cap layer on top of the blocks, and they still have to replace the bricks, the dedication bricks around the flagpole. Now, it was mentioned the other day, Bob brought it up actually, that the flagpole is not perfectly straight. So I was thinking perhaps they could straighten that at the same time, but it can't be done because there's a sonotube there, and in the sonotube there's like a plastic tube that the flagpole fits into, and the reason for that is to allow some shimming of it. But when it was put up, apparently they put the cement in the inner part as well, so there's no way to shim it and straighten it. So, what little bit of slant there, we're going to have to live with on that. But I would think that another day or so, the whole project there should be done, and to me, it looks good.
Yeah, it looked really good.
They did a nice job of matching the blocks, almost look like that they're, they don't look like concrete. They look more like granite. So I'm pleased with it. So we got the extra cost, flagpole. Another thing that just came to mind as I was listening here, we have a code of ethics, and up until a few years ago, there was an ethics committee on the books, but nobody ever ran for it. Whether that's because of lack of advertising the positions or whether people just didn't want to step forward in that capacity, I don't know. But I would suggest that some consideration be given to a warrant article that would reinstate the need for an ethics committee in town. Because when something comes up, it's fine to have everybody do an oath pledging to this code of ethics, but then there's nothing to back it up. So just food for thought. Should we have a warrant article that reinstates this ethics committee that doesn't exist anymore? Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Naomi, was this Code of Ethics Committee, board, whatever this was, disbanded officially, or is it still on the
There's
books?
just
and
nobody
just-
ran for it, so you had nobody.
So it's just inactive, current.
Yeah, I don't know, I'd have to go back and research, it's been inactive for a long time.
I can answer that.
All right.
Actually, it was a warrant article that came off the books,
Right,
so we'd have to have another one.
you have to put it back on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Any other public comment? Being none, move to department head committee items. Since we got a small posse, we'll start with Chief Vazina. Right, that's what I was thinking.
I just wanted to touch base, watching, I think it was the last meeting, there was a discussion about radios. I got the impression after watching that, or from watching that, that some members of the board think that fire's holding up or delaying some portion of the radio project, which I don't feel that that's true. We've all been waiting for a good 10, almost 11 months to get some data out of Motorola. We have a fairly big decision to make, whether we're going to go to capital or not. But I just thought I would just touch base on how I saw that process going, because there's still 2 or 3 different moving pieces that are out there. It's my intent, and I think the Board of Fire Ward's intent, that we will renew our contract with Goffstown Dispatch, because we need, that expires in December, or say January 1st. So regardless of what happens with the capital thing, is we need to have a dispatch service January 1st. We're awaiting those contract numbers from Goffstown. That's, I believe the police are in the same boat. It's required by, or strongly suggested by, the Capital Area Mutual Aid Compact that we have a warrant article go in front of the voters so that they can approve our making application to membership in the Capital Area Mutual Aid Compact. That's for really 2 different reasons, right? Is they're approving that also because there's an expense to it, right? They're fully being warned of what the expense is, and then because we're an SB2 town, it also allows that expense to become part of the default budget process. We reached out to Epsom Fire Department because they're an SB2 town as well, and they're treating it as though, let me just see if I could, that intermunicipal agreement has a contract and another obligation that becomes defaultable under SB2. So we need to get that in front of the voters in March. The voters, if they say yes, then we would proceed more or less how Jack has it laid out, which is one of those new site, or one of those 3 sites would most likely become a simulcast site as part of Capital Area's radio system. We would bear the cost of that construction they would bear the cost of maintaining that going forward. And if the voters say no, then we need to maintain some sort of radio infrastructure so that we continue to be dispatched by Goffstown. I've let Goffstown know that what we were looking at doing so that we could sit down and focus on kind of that termination or escape clause part of the contract that, you know, that we, looking like we're going to proceed with that warrant article, but the implementation date is probably in the '23 budget year, whether January or July. The only reason to wait until July would be to prorate that first year in capital, just to make it a little more palatable from a cost perspective. But if need be, we could certainly get up and running by January 1st of '23.
Taking the radio towers and repeaters out of the equation along with the simulcast, would there be a cost involved with reprogramming all the portables and pagers to change frequencies and tones? Or just change frequencies?
Well, we wouldn't need to change tones, but we would need to reprogram the frequency that the pagers operate on. There could be a cost associated with that.
Okay.
Typically, R&R Communications, as part of their maintenance agreement, has included that kind of annual reprogramming. The last time they were through was a year. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a while.
8 months plus.
And that also brings up another point, and I think Sherry had brought it up, is, you know, why doesn't fire go digital? And the main reason for that, certainly from Capital Area's perspective, is the two-tone paging system. There's really not a good digital solution to that, so that's why they're still analog. All of the equipment that we have that was purchased through the state grant program back in the 2000s is all digital capable. It just needs to be reprogrammed. But all of that equipment from that point forward, in any replacement equipment we would acquire going forward, is all capable of being digital. It just needs to be reprogrammed. So,
I think that was the holdup, Chief, is the fact that we hadn't heard anything regarding the capital area idea. And it just said on Mr. Dearborn's presentation, with fire moving to capital area, and we're like, that's the first we've heard of it. So it wasn't a sticking point, it was just, we need to get a hold of the board of fire wards or yourself and figure out where everything was moving towards.
yeah,
and
well,
what
we
the
had
plan
been
was.
kind of in a holding pattern, because as part of the discussion has always been, is like, what is fire's cost in this rebuilding? Because if the cost is, if the cost was at, let's say, $100,000, well, it's a much tougher sell, and you start balancing the economics of, well, we got a pretty good deal with Goffstown, we got to put up with some stuff, but we have a pretty good deal with them, and the cost of the new system isn't staggering. But it sounds like, you know, that's not the case. That the infrastructure cost for fire alone is
Substantial.
400-ish, right? And so the question has always been is, if we're going to go, when are we going to go? And the Goffstown, on the Goffstown end, part of that conversation earlier this year was the concept of, there may come a day where we boot you out. And that kind of changed our whole thinking of, well, if we're going to spend a lot of money now on a radio system, is now the time to go? And it seems like the two different costs that are being talked about, the cost to go to capital and the cost to stay in Goffstown, is very different. And part of this whole conversation back in March was, if we were to go to capital, how much infrastructure do we need to maintain in order so that they can hear us and we can hear them? We're very surprised at how well it worked, capital's frequency in our community, and what's being suggested with the simulcast piece that Jack talked about last time, will just make that even better. So I think we're headed in the right direction. There's just several moving pieces still to come.
Perfect.
So that was it.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Department head committee items recognize, I believe, Andy Fulton.
Can we have Vice Chairman Major speak first, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
That's what I forwarded you today.
Yeah, yeah, we get this forwarded to us today. Yep.
Got a bunch of different maps and a couple of packets here. Might have to share one of those ones. All right, then this is just a smaller version of that.
This is
one.
Page Hill Road. Up on Page Hill Road. This is the Winston over there.
Packets that Andy made up.
Thank you.
Jack,
Thank you.
okay, well, thanks for having us. I'm Steve Najar, Vice Chair of the Conservation Commission. Here to encourage the Board of Selectmen to consider moving on the acquisition of 85 acres off of the northwest side of 114 there, just south of Hemlock Drive, that's owned by Nelson Barden. We've talked about this before, and then Andy spoke with you, and just kind of give you an update on the status of the project. So we had the successful title search, so that the title is sound, with the exception of there's some back taxes owed on the property. The purchase and sale, which I'll have a copy of, I believe the execution date was somewhere around September 11th, so we had 60 days to close on that. We, in the title report, we had some question as to the vagueness of the actual deed that conveyed the property to Nelson Barden. I believe that was from a family member, so there's a warranty deed that's in the packet for you guys. And then the title company had suggested obtaining a survey. And so fortunately, there was actually a survey from the 70s in the state archives that demonstrates that there is indeed 85 acres there. I've also gone ahead and passed around, there's a map in your packet that has red dashed lines. So the red dashed lines mean that there is another survey plat on file at the Registry of Deeds for that dashed line. So you can see the the parcels that are really not surveyed going around are town ownership, which would be 401-92. So there's, we own it, so I'm not really too worried about a boundary dispute there. There's a very small parcel on the south side there that's not surveyed. I think that's 201-17. It doesn't have an actual plat. It does have a meets and bounds description though, so it's pretty easy to find. And then the only other one that really doesn't have anything is that parcel 401 106. And so again, that's one of these ones that also has kind of like an older deed. It's mostly, it's the other side of that beaver pond. So we think that we've addressed the question of the amount of acreage that's there, that, you know, that it is actually 85 acres, more or less, that it was surveyed by a New Hampshire licensed surveyor in the 70s, and that there is certainly a lot of supporting documentation surrounding the parcel, that it's, you know, a solid acquisition. You can see on the 70s survey that it's almost completely surrounded by rock walls, or 114. But wanted to open up for questions there. We have a former Conservation Commission member that works for Meridian Land Service. He's an owner actually here as well, that, you know, if he needs to, maybe he could chime in. But I think the documentation speaks for itself.
Do you want to speak? Tom, you want to speak?
I can. For the record, I'm Tom Carr from Meridian Land Services. I'm also a former chairman of the CONSCOM prior to Andy Fulton. Steve did some research. We did research at the HCRD to find the plans around it after Andy had come up with this plan from the state. And we looked at those plans today compared to this, and it all seems to match up pretty well with distances, and which would infer that the acreage is close, very close. So that's what we did. We just looked at it to try and substantiate that boundary plan from the 70s with more recent stuff around it that matched up to it, common lot lines.
Thanks, Tom.
Board members have any questions as of right now?
Seems to satisfy our request, at least our request. I don't know about our title company.
Correct. That would be the other half of it. And
Could I answer that, Rick?
yeah,
So Andy did check with the town attorney, and it is a solid title. It's a marketable title legally. There was never question of the title. It was a suggestion to nail down the boundary for acreage purposes is all they were suggesting. There was no fault, so you have the title report. It's been reviewed by the town attorney. It is a valid title. And that will be conveyed as a warranty deed.
all right. Any other questions or comments to the board?
It's pretty clear cut.
I mean, it's an older survey, but it's still what the state holds as valid. Obviously, it's in the archives. Jack, anything? All right. Jerry?
No, I think it looks good.
Mr. Oswald?
Well, it's like John said, it satisfies us and satisfies the title company.
All right. That's where you're at, John?
Mm-hmm.
Has this been passed on to the title company or no?
So
this information.
the title company has already issued their report. They weren't saying that it's a valid title. I mean, they're done. They just made a suggestion, which really confused things. We wouldn't need to go back to them. I think Laura would be the one to ask if you had any questions, but it's a valid title. I mean, the legal definition is it a marketable title or not? And yes, it is. So, I mean, the title company doesn't need anything else. That's it.
Again, I guess, the concern of this board is not, I feel was just making sure the i's were dotted and the t's are crossed.
Yep.
And if we had a professional service render a suggestion, that's what we wanted.
I agree.
To follow.
Yep.
So I think that's where the board was at these past few weeks. But
Yeah, and these, as you know, I mean, these land transactions with these older deeds, there's an element of, research that you need to do.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I think because not only did State Archives have that older survey, but the supporting documentation, there was absolutely no conflict there. All the plats that are more modern, and I've got them all numbered out on the sheet of paper, correspond precisely with that boundary. There's just no question on any of them. And it's nice that, I think I told you before, I mean, it's an unbelievable rock wall going around that thing,
that's what Andy was saying.
Yeah, so it hasn't moved, it hasn't been messed with, Yep.
And Andy, you were saying this Amsden fellow is still doing
He's done.
surveys?
He's done.
Oh,
He's not.
He's gone.
He's not surveying anymore.
oh.
His son does.
Yeah, Hank Amsden's about 85 now. I spoke with his son. His son is also a surveyor, so that's how I found a number. Amsden Surveying used to be in Concord. Hank's moved to Greenfield now. As I was speaking with his son, whose name pops up in a search, it's like, yeah, Dad's still surveying. Dad's doing the New Hampshire work. I'm doing work in Maine. His son, Nate, says, I think his stuff's in the archives. You ought to look there. So that sent me on the search for this. After, I should let you know, Mike Dahlberg, also a former Conservation Commission member, is a licensed surveyor. Mike worked on the southern property bounds where the golf course / storage area was, and Mike says, I'm looking at my plan. My plan's referencing a plan for this property to the north, the Barden property. You should look for that. So I give all credit to the licensed surveyor and looks at these things all the time. He's like, there's a plan for that, Andy. Hope you can find it. That's what you got in front of you.
Okay.
And Hank Amsden used to live in Ware.
Yeah, I see the North Ware.
And he's still in business. It's I wanted to speak with him, and his son said, Dad's cell phone's not working, Mom's is not working, I'm gonna meet him today.
Oh, boy.
So I have not, tried to chase down Hank. Having found the record of the work in the State Archive, I was delighted for the tips all the way from Tom Carr, looking and suggesting that Mike Dahlberg knew something. Mike Dahlberg saying, I think these Amsden guys, Hank's still in business, see if you can find him. His son saying he's still in business, but the stuff's in the archive. Archivist saying, I'll look for it in the archives. Lo and behold, we found it. So
Awesome.
I feel strongly that we got legit additional documentation that we didn't have 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah. Oh, no, it definitely is. There's definitely more information here than before.
delighted that we have that additional measure of confidence in what we are embarking upon, and what I would urge the selectmen to approve to closure on it, closing on the deal. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the first part of loose ends. And then the second loose end that I wanted to talk about and was the valuation piece of this. So I contacted, we talked about when I came in here trying to get appraisal done. And because this is not residential, it requires a more in-depth appraisal. So I talked to 2 licensed New Hampshire appraisers, and they are so backed up. One of them was around 2,000, the other one was around 3,000, and couldn't do it for months. So there, even if we didn't have the town purchasing policy to deal with, we just couldn't get it done in time for the purchase and sale. And we did ask through our town attorney, the seller's attorney, if they would hunt, and they will not extend the purchase and sale. There's actually been a developer up there looking at it as of last weekend. So looking at the Avatar assessment on the property, they are at $270,000, which comes into our 90% mark. Naomi had also mentioned there was a 40-acre parcel, 40-something, that went for significantly more per acre. Is that right, Naomi? Yeah. Do you remember the exact amounts on that one?
Well, the parcel,
405.
the parcel total is 272, but the land value is 229.
Yeah, they're way off on that. But I mean, we're buying the whole structure and everything, so we're just going to knock that down. But if you look at the per acre, I mean, even if you look at the amount of frontage on 114, it's so easy to pound house lots in there. It's unbelievable. And you're looking at like 15 house lots easily, if not a little bit more. I mean, if you divide it out by 5, but I mean, stuff that's not going to cost you a lot to develop. So and if you think about even like what we just paid for Poor Farm, we were at 4,000 an acre, and this is actually better land that has great timber on it. Hasn't been harvested in ages. It's got just with my forestry background, a ballpark would be easily $40,000 to $50,000 just in standing timber that hasn't been touched. So there's really, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, $300,000 is an extraordinarily good deal. And I would urge the board to waive that requirement, because there's just no way we can do it. And the whole thing's going to fall right through. They're not waiting. They won't give us any extra time.
What does that do for the purchase and sales? It says that conservation shall engage an independent third party.
Yeah,
What does that do in that?
Nothing.
He signed to that.
Yeah, no problem. That would just be if you were coming back and saying that, we tried to renegotiate it lower. It's just, we essentially waived our right. That's like a soil contingency where you have so many days to perform it, otherwise you just, press on. So there's gonna be no issue going ahead with the 300,000. And, if we have the go-ahead tonight, then we would be looking at, we have a public hearing scheduled for November 3rd to expend from the Conservation Fund, and we would start to line up the closing date. So, if there was some concern from the other side, you would hear that. But they're locked in legally, the 60 days. That was essentially a contingency for us, that 300, the appraisal within a month. And unfortunately, it's just been, things are turned on their heads as far as, getting any services right now. It's amazing what this whole, pandemic has really done. It was never an issue before.
So you've since raised another question for me.
Okay?
When I commented that the land value from Avatar was 229,
Yep.
you said, A, that's way off, and B, we're gonna demolish the building. Who's gonna pay to dispose of the building?
Conservation. Yeah, not the general fund or anything like that.
Okay. I just see there's asphalt and everything else in there, so.
No, there's no asphalt. It's
Asphalt
a
shingles.
cabin. Oh,
Asphalt
yeah, I
shingles.
got you, yeah.
So you're gonna have disposal costs.
Right, absolutely. Yep,
Permitting and everything else.
Right.
yep. That's, something that shouldn't be very expensive. Just get construction dumpsters and pay for it, It's really a significant, ecologically significant parcel with just a, high value. It's connectivity. If you look on, we have several town parcels that connect right to it. That 92 connects into, I think, that leave 118 at 17, so there's just a lot in there, and then there's another easement off to the side. Really, really a great piece, good habitat and good timber.
As you know, I made a motion last week to waive the appraisal, and it fell short of a second. So,
Would you entertain?
we'll entertain again, I'll entertain a motion to go with the Conservation Commission. Is there a motion to be made?
To move forward with this?
To move forward, to waive the appraisal? Because that was, last meeting, we were at the fact of a survey of the property, which has been acquired. So that has been met. But the motion I made last week was to waive the appraisal, and it failed a second.
Well, I think with the added information we have, that we should be able to go forward and waive that. We definitely know that we've got 85 acres now, and it's been surveyed.
I think what he's looking at is the appraisal value
Of the property.
of the property.
Yeah, that,
Advertised saying it's
Yeah, we're not-
229 and
yeah, we're not looking for the, we're not, I mean,
retail value.
it appears that, again, that the lot is 85 acres. That's pretty clear cut, which was a hang-up of last week, last meeting. And now, here we are, once again, to waive the appraisal, which would then, at that point, I feel, move the project forward as its entirety. And is that a consensus of the board that that would be what would happen if we voted unanimously to waive the appraisal? It would be a move forward on the property.
It doesn't need to be unanimous, it just needs to be a majority.
Right, but it would be the majority, and it would be moving forward with it. I believe that would be what we'd get to. Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion if there is one.
I'll make the motion to go forward with this, even though this is not, the appraisal is on the lower side. I mean, I don't think that we want to have 15 house lots put in there, so,
All right, so you're moving to do what?
to approve the project and go forward with it.
So to waive the
Waive the
appraisal
appraisal.
and accept the survey provided?
Yep.
Okay. Move, is there a second? I'll second it. Moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Abstain?
Abstain.
Deadlock.
And deadlock equals yes or no.
That's what I don't know. It's 2-2.
Any chance of more discussion and thinking about swaying any hearts and minds here, or?
Nope.
I don't think so. I think you made a case.
Thank you.
My biggest thing is we're buying it for $300,000. What's the market value? What is the market value at? That's, I know what we're saying, the average market value for land. We've got an appraisal of $229,000. That's a $76,000 difference, plus or minus, from what we're purchasing it for.
So, we just purchased, you know,
I don't care about that purchase, I'm talking
Yeah.
about this. This one's got a tax card on it for this much that we're looking at.
yeah.
I'm just looking at the difference.
I would think it
in
would be
that.
worth much more considering it's on prime real estate. It's
Yeah.
right on 114, the frontage. I would imagine
And
the,
this has got a building sitting on it.
to me, the
That's
229 seems just way low.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way
I would
low.
think it should be like, well, I'm not a professional, but I would imagine it'd be much more than what's listed on this tax card.
Yeah.
Yep, well, that's what I'm saying, is there's a $76,000 discrepancy, that's the only thing I'm looking at.
So, Tom slid me, just a note, just 10 lots, for instance, are worth, a house lot in Ware is way over, he's 75, would be $750,000. It's even more than that. I mean, Naomi, do you remember the exact amount on that parcel that you'd mentioned with the 40 acres?
I
What they
said
paid?
405 earlier.
Oh, 405, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay,
How many
Yeah.
acres?
39.
39 acres.
10,000,
Just
yeah.
for
Three-quarters of a
405.
mil, easy.
Yeah. And you're gonna sell a house lot with a house on it for $500,000 plus.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy not to move forward with this.
Now, we're deadlocked. Now what do we do?
Still chewing on it.
Do we revote, or, I don't know. I haven't run into this.
Jack can change his vote
Okay,
if he chooses.
if he chooses.
Thank you all for considering this tonight. But what we're looking at is a parcel total of $272,800 for this lot. That's what its assessed value, tax value is in the town of Ware.
And you're throwing away 43,400 of it. The building is what it's assessed at.
Yeah, you say you're taking off.
Yeah, you said
I
you're
don't,
demolishing
I
that.
don't, I don't see that I could step in and say that the assessment would be,
Well, I think the assessment's wrong, personally. I think it should be much higher.
the parcel assessment, look back through the records, somewhere in the 5-10 years ago range was over 300,000. I know assessments go up and go down, but for a point of reference, this parcel has been assessed over 300,000. And what we're purchasing, which is what anybody else would purchase, and what is, tax liability is it's set at 272,800. I would understand, the concerns, but I think we have an abundance of information that would suggest the value is far in excess of what we have for a purchase and sale value of 300,000. And I would encourage the board to honor the intent of our warrant articles, where we're purchasing town forest land for the town, supported by 2/3 of the town year after year after year. And I would just hate to see this opportunity, which we've been working for well over a decade, working towards this point. We're so close, for good reason. I think this project should go forward, and we should request that to our town and to the future of the town. If there are any questions that I can answer, Steve, or
No, I think you guys have made your
Tom?
case. I feel like you guys have made your case, definitely. But,
thank you.
yep. I've never been faced with this before, so I don't know what
I
we're
know, I'm
doing.
looking, I don't know.
Yes.
In the meantime, the question probably ought to be asked is Vice Chairman Meany going to be changing his vote, or is he staying at abstaining?
Right now, I'm staying as an abstention. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'll stand for this.
Okay. All right, I think we gotta figure out what we're gonna do now.
would you like us to try to get an opinion from a real estate agent, which would be different than an appraisal? But,
My vote would not change.
okay.
For the record, I'm against this purchase. So my vote will be no on this project. I'm not sure what everybody else is on that, but I just want to give you the heads up. That's why I voted no this evening.
Is there any, like, rationale for?
Personally, I don't think I think it's prime property for other development, and I haven't seen, a question was asked, and the town attempted back in 2014 at the latest that I remember, trail subcommittee that failed after 2 years and nothing happened with it. I'm assuming, and it's just an assumption, you're buying this for the timber property. You're going to harvest it in some form or fashion, and then it's going to be reharvested again in 20, 30 years under proper logging practices and foresting practices. But it's never, I don't see how that's going to change. I don't see how that's going to benefit the town other than conservation buying more land. It doesn't benefit, I see no trails being put in anywhere. I'll use New Boston as a reference, similar to former Selectman John Lawton. I believe that's what he was referencing. And I think Selectman Clow mentioned that too a couple of terms ago. I see this more as a prime property for other development, and it locks that 80 acres and 1,000+ foot road frontage. I don't know right off the top of my head. I'm all for conservation to a point. In the residential areas, great. But this one, I don't think is right.
I don't know how much I'm going to address this, but there is already a trail going down to the Beaver Pond. It's a pretty good woods road down there. You know, the broader issue, and boy, it's so hard when people keep bringing up New Boston. You know, Ware only has one old rail bed, so I mean, New Boston could easily convert a rail bed to a rail trail, and Ware just doesn't have that. We have one that's underwater, and we don't own it. So really an unfair comparison. You know, the Conservation Commission itself is not really, we don't have the manning or the funding to develop a huge trail system. And, you know, that'll cost money. We did do a pretty good study on our properties and what we could do to link them together. But, you know, part of those, there's just a bunch of issues. To link things together, it's not, those are properties that we don't own and we don't manage.
Correct.
You know, to get that all linked together. So, I mean, big picture, you could do that. You need people that want to do that, and you need funding. So it's kind of, I feel, you know, a little unfair just to, you know, kind of make it sound like it's a shortcoming of the Conservation Commission, because we really give it our all.
That's not my intention. This particular project, and, I mean, we can have the trails discussion another evening. For this particular project, my vote will be no.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate, because the things that we do look at are wildlife habitat, you know, watershed protection, which all of these really play into this, and, you know, even proximity to the school, good forest management that you've mentioned. So that, you know, all that plays into it. And I'd really say, you know, the one thing that you may not be considering is that, you know, I hear you saying development, this is zone residential. You're going to end up with 15 houses. Houses don't pay for themselves. So if you enjoy your taxes going up, you know, then, yeah, push residential development. But there's no real benefit to that, you know, versus the benefit to the town of having something managed over the long term and accessible to the public for 1,000 years. You know, once it's developed, it's done.
Nothing, Naomi?
No,
All right.
not this simple.
I think just in sense of time, we're deadlocked. Vice Chairman Meany's not going to change his vote.
might have enough information to make a reasonable vote one way or the other. We
So-
just got this tonight, and I wanna have time to go over it and look at each piece and parcel of it.
So that's not to say we can't hold an emergency meeting to make the change. But as of this point in time, we're deadlocked. There's no movement. So unfortunately, you have a stalemate as of right now. So, it was moved 2-2-1, so, I think we contact, legal, find out what we do from here. Jack, you'll have the time to review the documentation, and stay in touch.
If I may,
Yep,
the whole point, it needs a majority.
it does, and it didn't get
It
it.
never got majority, so I would, in my mind, it would be a no, but because of the perceived bias, I definitely want to go ahead and get that verified, but I would assume that if it needs a majority to pass.
Right,
It doesn't need a majority to fail.
right.
That would be my guess.
But it wasn't okay to move forward.
Correct.
That's, at the end of the day, it was not okay to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you interpret that? If it wasn't okay in the motion to move forward,
It dies.
then it dies. And the answer is no.
That's based off of the Roberts rules that I'm finding for voting procedures, is majority to pass. If no majority exists, then it fails.
So Jack, can I speak to you directly? I mean, I don't totally understand.
Well,
the
let me explain my point.
Yep.
This came in here tonight with no preparation for us. You dumped this on us. This has been a controversial thing. I want to go over every piece of paper and document, do my own thing on it. I don't need to get spoon-fed, and that's what it seems like we're getting. I want to look at it, look at everything here. I'll go in the office and look at everything in the assessing office and research it, and then I'll make my decision from there. And that's the end of my discussion on that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Personally, I'm the guy who was up at 11 o'clock last night researching this. We just pulled this all together. This hasn't been
I
easy. We just
appreciate
got it.
that, but the thing is then that we get dumped on it tonight, and I'm not just gonna make it off of what I've presented and what I wanna see and make my own mind up.
Right.
That's the way I do things.
So would it be possible, Chairman Hippler, to actually schedule because we don't have any time is the problem. This thing just evaporates come November 11th. I mean, so. could you-
Right. No, I'm saying we could definitely hold, all we need is a 24-hour notice to hold it, to bring us together.
Right.
So, if Jack does his research and says, I've made a decision, 24 hours, we got it. So, at that point, it could be non-favorable or favorable. Just let me know.
Right. I mean, if someone isn't going to change their minds, then we don't really need to.
Right. But,
to do that.
But I mean, if there's a possibility of you changing your mind either
I
way,
wanna do the research on it.
then I think it's valid that we wait for Jack to do his, again, and we're not talking 2 or 3 days, right?
Yeah, I mean, probably a day or two tomorrow,
Yeah.
the day after.
What's the
I'll
deadline
have
for
it
you?
done.
Yeah, so we've got some statutory hurdles. We have we went ahead and
I texted town council. So
Oh, okay.
I said, sorry to bother you. If the board has a vote of 2 yes, 2 no, and 1 abstention, what does that mean? And I said, does it die as a stalemate? And she said, it dies. Dies as a stalemate.
So it can't be revisited.
Hang on, she's still writing.
Okay, in the meantime, while she's still writing, go ahead. Your deadlines?
so we have the public hearing to expend from the Conservation
Mm-hmm.
Fund on November 3rd scheduled. So if we don't,
That's 2 weeks.
if we don't have an answer before then, it's going to be a
I
problem.
think
She said it dies, you need a majority to prevail.
So you'd have to re-motion
You'd
essentially.
have to
Remotion it.
3 of you at least.
And we'd have to remotion it the same way.
I'm not
Same
gonna
vote.
go back and forth.
No, I know, but that's the way I'm interpreting it, is it needs to be remotioned, revoted on, et cetera.
It's so dry in here.
So,
I asked the question, what does that mean? Does it die as a stalemate? She said it dies, and then she then wrote, you need a majority to prevail.
right,
That
so,
answers your question.
yeah. But I think, no, I don't know what to think now.
Well, we have one more, I believe we have one more meeting before their deadline. Are we,
But they have to have a public hearing, is what
If that
it's
public
telling me.
hearing, yeah,
Your next meeting will be November 1st.
right, that's not long enough for them to have a public hearing.
Not to say that can't schedule a public hearing, that costs money.
Mhm.
And you could talk about it November 1st, and they could still proceed on November 3rd, because you would have already put the notice out for the public hearing.
Well, I think, I think we can come together before that if we have to. And that way there, we're not spending the conservation not spending the money to do the
But
post.
they have to get it out very soon.
Yeah, I know that.
They only have 10 days.
Right, 10 days,
10
right.
business days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yes.
we would meet,
You're
we
running
would
with
need to meet by this, we would need to meet Thursday at the
By
latest.
this
This week.
By this Thursday,
This
yes.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Right.
Or we can just spend the money and put the notice out. I mean,
Don't wanna see
I think
anybody
that's the
wasting any
safest
money.
route.
Yeah, just, all right, yeah, and then just put it out, yeah.
I've said this before, I thought it was the safest route just to put it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if, what,
Oh, I'm just doing some figuring in my head. Go
don't
ahead.
do that, smoke's getting thick.
Yeah, I know.
Do we want to hold another meeting between now and Friday?
It'd have to be Thursday.
It would have to be Thursday.
Thursday. I'd get
Does that
back
work for
on
everybody?
time.
Does that work for you? Okay.
Wednesday, I'm not available.
All right, well, I think we're gonna be, I think the consensus just now is Thursday. So,
It's the 21st. I think I'm available.
gotta figure it out real quick.
As far as I know, I am.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking.
Even if it's a,
Retired man with the busiest schedule of the,
I
of
know,
the table.
right? 6:30, 7 o'clock,
Tired, what's that?
something like that. All right, so we'll meet Thursday. Now give Jack time to review and we'll reassess a motion.
okay, do you need us back for that, or are you just gonna have discussion yourselves?
I think, like I said, you guys have made your case. As far as I'm concerned,
Are
you
you
know,
bringing any additional, new additional information? New additional information.
I don't think there would be.
Find that extremely unlikely.
Yeah, so I think you guys are fine.
So Thursday, at what time?
7.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for considering it.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Is Lisa out there? Lisa Bjornson?
I don't see her.
Beth's right there.
No, I haven't seen her out there.
Lisa
Is
Bjornson?
Lisa out there? Lisa Parrington? Once, twice?
Parks and Rec?
Guess not.
No Lisa?
She'd asked to be put on tonight.
Yeah, I know.
To sell the buildings versus tear them down.
Right. Okay. Well,
Yes.
Something like that.
Well,
I will
Couple
text her real quick and find
Well-
out if she's coming.
on that, we have the right to
Change
sell
this,
them, or
yeah.
we don't own them.
it's probably whacked it on.
We haven't accepted them.
We never accepted them. They never even, I don't even think they ever put them up, did
Well,
they?
I'm questioning what buildings.
What
that would
buildings
actually
are
get
they?
rid of.
That
The
garage.
ones at Purington.
Yeah, but there's like
You're
4 or
into-
5.
Ten or
There's
Inison?
two.
Einison. She said Einison. There's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, there's one down there that looks like a.
Plus the big shed.
garage, The big shed.
Yeah.
And
So, all right.
Yeah, we-
Just for time's sake, she's not here. Let's move
That's what it
on.
looks like.
Is that the one we're supposed to put a roof on?
No,
No.
the roof's
No,
already
that
been
was-
put on.
It's in the back. That must be in the back corner.
Okay.
Anyways, well, if she's not here, then
There's two, you can pass it around.
we'll move.
Yeah.
We'll move forward because she needs to
Yeah,
be.
Beth's out there, I
To me,
think.
she needs to be here
Yeah,
to,
Beth's
to
out there.
discuss it and give us a better idea. All right, so Beth, come on in. You're next. On the Price is Right. Come on down.
Okay.
We're gonna go over the revenue and default budgets.
God, that time of the year already.
Uh-huh.
Getting there.
Time flies, you're having fun, don't it?
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what I've heard.
It's warm in here.
It is warm in here.
I thought it was warming up.
Thank you.
It ain't gonna take long. Temperature outside right now.
Snowed on Mount Washington today.
Bite your tongue. So what are we doing first? Revenues or?
What do you got on top?
I got revenues, but
Sure, we'll go with that.
Want to get the board
the good news. Sure.
for the people at home? Save on paper maybe?
No. It's a single page. I'll share. Whoa.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, I'm ready if you are.
Okay.
Thank you. It's hot in here.
No wind. I think it's supposed to be raining.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with the 2022 estimated revenues. This year, we've done a great year so far. Just to scoot down to the bottom. Our revised revenues for 2021 was sorry, don't get my mouse, 453, and we've already brought in 2,772,907. So we're right on target. So if we bring in the $3.636 million in revenue, that is 5.79% higher than our 2020. So let's do estimating for next year. So for next year, for the current use, I just did an average of 2019, 2020, and 2021. I get 27,000. Same with the timber tax, just did an estimate of the 3 years, or an average. Same with the excavation tax, did an average of the 3 years, and same on the interest and penalties on property tax. Those are really our unknowns. So the town clerk reviewed her revenues, and she gave them to me this morning. She is estimating an increase in motor vehicle permits of $105,000. She believes the vehicle agent fees will stay the same at $46,000, and the boat registration is going to be $4,800 estimated. So for the clerk's office, the increase is going to be about $104,800 over 2021. Code enforcement, I did the average of the 3 years because I don't know if it's going to quiet down or keep booming. Town clerk gave me the revenues for the next 6 items, which is the vitals and the dog. A little small decrease of $617. Mostly that's due to the dog licensing. Most of those. State revenues, the meals and rooms, I kept it the same. That number will change once I speak with DRA in the next couple weeks, right before we do setting our tax rate. State and forest land, that's an average of 19, 20, and 21. Flood control, usually get about $40,000 a year. And then the FEMA and state is the ARPA fund, our estimated, or the amount, second tranche for 2022. I lost a year, sorry. Forest fire reimbursement, $2,000. It was a quiet year, thankfully.
Well, I think the rain had something to do with that.
Yeah, a lot of rain in July.
Yeah, a little bit.
The next section, let's just skip to where there's a big change. The school reimbursement, there's going to be a change there, just a small increase. Sewer rents went down a little bit. Nothing really drastic, I want to point out. Postage reimbursement for land use, obviously the number of mailings that go out plus the increase to postage. Mechanical permits, there was an increase. Those just keep getting more every year. I believe 2022 will be the first year, we have an entire year of the fee increase that the planning board put into effect. Scrap metal is doing great. Really happy to see that all those recyclables are coming back. Police park receipts, increased that a little based on the 3-year average. There's nothing really drastic in here. Nothing exciting. How's that? So when you get down to it, we're looking at a $75,714 increase over 2021's, which is a 2.08% increase. So really, our revenues went up about 7% from 2020. So we're doing really great. Any questions on revenues?
Did, I guess it's not so much the revenue itself, but
Okay.
with the, basically, we've almost come a calendar year probably of not doing recycling plastic, where that,
Correct.
where that came as a revenue, and I see it's zeroed across right now. Are we seeing that on the other side with hauling fees? You know,
Well, the hauling fees is a
Tippin-
contract. The size
per
more
ton though,
contract.
right?
Yep.
But are we seeing more tons, or is that particular line a little
Yes.
swollen?
Yes.
That was my question.
Are they taking plastic yet?
No,
No, not yet.
Still not?
no. So it's going right in the,
Yep.
and that's why I'm thinking, that's why I thought that
So
the
like the wheelabrator and.
wheelbarrow
the
tipping
number of
fees would be
hauls
higher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the number
More
of tons.
tonnage.
yeah, more tonnage and more hauls, yeah.
The plastic's not gonna raise
No,
our tonnage up
But-
that much.
no, but it's saying that it was $9,500 worth of revenue of 2019, and now
It's lost revenue.
it zeros all the way across, and now it's costing us because we're hauling it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, it may not cost much, but
Still
can we see that?
It's just
Probably
a
not,
minor
because
increase in tonnage.
Increase in spec.
probably not, because
Over the years,
you're gonna have everybody clean out their house doing different things because of
Yep.
the pandemic. Reflections, right, high or low.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you can't really just say, yeah, it's only because of plastic. So, okay.
No, when you get to the budget, you'll always see
Mm-hmm.
the transfer station is just way over budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, plastic never brought much anyway.
No, and I knew it didn't. I just, like I said, I didn't know how much that actually related to in tonnage, I guess. All right.
Any other questions on the 2022?
Estimated revenues. Glad to see it on the plus, not the minus.
It's doing great. The next handout is gonna be the summary on the default. You guys at the table did receive the detail. So in summary, in short, if you look at the bottom of the sheet, the 2021 voter-approved budget was $7,009,592. Also on the warrant, there was warrant article number 10 for the non-union raises, which told the voters that $59,953 was going to be added to that operating budget number. And then warrant article 11, that had three parts to it. So the voters were informed that $89,291 was going to be added to that, plus another $10,000 for one-time items. The warrant article also said that by voting yes, $37,783 was going to come from the part-time line within their budget. Warrant article 12 was a Parks and Recreation wage increase. So when the voters voted in 2021, they knew that those items were going to be added to the operating budget warrant. So the total for 2021, their budget came out to be $7,136,435. So I brought that over to the second column. So that's where we start our 2022 budget, is the $7,136,435. Now, when they voted yes on Article 10, that was for 3/4 of the year. So that $13,468 is that last quarter. Article 11, the $69,000 was, again, the warrant article said, I believe it said it was for 6 months. So we had to add the $69,000 in for a full year of their wages. Article 11 did state that there was one-time items listed. Those come out. And then the Parks and Rec was also, I want to say that said it was for 6 months, so the 723 was for the, no, that was 3/4 as well. The 723 was for that last quarter.
Question on Article 11, and I don't know if you can answer this one.
Okay.
$10,000 for one-time purchases for the 2 additional firefighters.
Correct.
What if those firefighters leave? Do we have to pay that $10,000 for replacement firefighters?
Yes,
Okay.
because the one-time items,
Yeah, the gear,
yeah,
Yeah.
it was the gear.
uniforms.
So is it accurate that it's actually deducted, or should it stay in there?
No, it's deducted because we did hire them, so we won't be seeing that in 2022.
For the 21 hires.
Yeah,
Okay. But if
Yes.
they hire a replacement, it just comes out of their budget at that
Correct.
point? Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Because it was for protective clothing, physical immunizations, and uniforms.
Gotcha. Good, thank you.
Yep. So, the budget, the voters were informed of those increases and decreases. Also, in the default budget, the state mandated New Hampshire retirement system contribution increases. We knew that was coming. So $100,362 is the increase mandated by the state. We did have a decrease in our debt service interest of $13,481, which is a contract. We did have a decrease in the transfer station wages due to turnover. We lost a retiree. Increase in wages for the police CBA, and this is the last year of that. So $22,328 was added to the wages of the police officers per their CBA. We did have a decrease in the health insurance premiums of $6,917. And then wage decreases among all the other departments, mostly because we're hiring less skill set. We had retirees who had longevity, who've been here for a while, leave, so then we replaced them with people with less skill set, less wages, because those that were here for a long time, had higher wages. So that added $27,566 to the default budget. So a total of $7,237,192. Sorry about that. It's gonna be the default number. Now, is there anything you'd like to see discussed, talk about, why it's?
So, I guess I ran down through the summary, and the largest jump I saw was the tax collector. And that appears to be because we're budgeting for a family plan in that spot being vacant right now.
Correct.
Okay.
There's 3 vacancies in this building alone that were, either had a single plan or a 2-person plan.
Yep.
So for budgeting purposes, I am budgeting family plans
Okay,
for those replacements.
okay,
Hopefully by year end, we'll know for sure, but
right.
I got a budget for a family plan.
That was my answer. I found my own answer.
Mr. Chairman, I think you ought to put another 50,000-60,000 in there for messenger advertising.
We'll do that right after we put a 50,000-60,000 in the selectman's salary line.
Chances of that, slim and none.
Slim to none, that's right.
Please don't put that in the minutes.
Too late.
Recorded.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So the default budget is 1.41% higher than the approved budget for last year.
Which was default.
Correct. It was default.
We said
plus
1.4?
1.41.
But again, that encompasses what the
Losses.
All the
what the
warrant articles.
taxpayers
Yes.
stepped in last year to vote for, right?
Yeah, it was the operating budget plus the
Plus everything that they
Pretty
voted
well
for reoccurring costs.
recurring costs, correct.
Yeah, okay. Does the board have any questions?
Not at this time. I don't.
This is a very rough draft, honestly, but, I mean, I say rough, but
Okay.
the default budget is default budget.
Yeah. It is what it is.
But as far as the estimates is the revenues,
The revenues are an estimate.
right.
Yep. Close out the year.
We
can really-
haven't seen the last of these numbers, but,
No, get used to the default numbers because everything's compared to those.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
There's one other item I wanted to go over tonight.
Oh, sorry.
Just because we're getting ready to set the department heads are coming in a couple weeks. So it's the fuel usage. We need to set the fuel usage rate.
High.
So, I
Where were
know,
we last time?
that's blinding. So last
No,
year, well,
it's
last
not.
year we ended up with the default budget number. So last year we proposed unleaded was going to be 235 and diesel was gonna be 280. That's what we
That's gonna go
proposed.
up a little bit.
Unfortunately.
Where are we,
Right now, we are at 291 for unleaded and 269 for diesel.
so
What
we've
was
been,
the average over the rolling 12 months
For diesel, it's gonna be
on both?
$2.31. And for unleaded, it is $2.40.
Okay, so compare those to what we set it at. I just want to see if we were even close.
So this
Yeah.
one is 240.
Actually, we did pretty
Yep,
good.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
good.
yeah. Yeah, but remember also in the diesel, we don't pay the tax, the road use tax, so
Right.
that's,
You don't pay it on the unleaded.
no, so, again, we were close.
We got lucky.
We got lucky
Pay
because
any tax.
we know where it's headed.
Yep.
So
moon.
according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and this is where we got the numbers last year from, they average it out for 2022. Oh, what happened on my, it's gone. I don't know, it disappeared.
There it was, gone.
Yeah, so this was diesel, that was the state of New Hampshire's diesel tax. This used to say federal diesel tax, so the total tax was 48 cents. According to this chart from U.S. Energy Information Administration, the average over the 12 months is gonna be $3.23. Subtract the tax and you get $2.75.
I think that's low. Very, I think it's
Oh. I
low.
think we're gonna be at
Start
least
looking
three.
what you're getting now.
What's your unleaded number?
248.
248, after the taxes are removed. Yeah, so they have it as, yeah,
God, I wish I could pay that.
Yeah.
We used to could.
Are we setting this number now, or?
I would like to. Because we got department heads, like I said, coming in a couple weeks, and it's gonna be
They need
a number
that.
they need to plug in.
So what are they saying? It's for unleaded, they're saying
248.
248?
275 for
That's awful
diesel.
low.
I think that's way too low. I mean, right there, we're seeing, I mean, it's a forecast, but
So right now, average price for unleaded in a 20-mile radius of us is $3.25.
minus 50 cents.
Oh, look at that.
Correct.
I mean, you got some that are getting
275.
$3.49 a gallon.
Depends on where you go.
And
But-
that's just
and
down
that-
the road in Bedford.
And that's going up, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it just
gone
from
up.
May.
Diesel
8
right now,
cents.
lowest is 309, highest is 375. I only see that going up.
Minus 50 cents is still 3 1/4
It's gonna go up.
plus. Right, so,
I'm almost saying,
can you scroll back down, Beth? Yep, just those boxes right there.
Yeah, if I can figure out where these boxes are.
my gut's gonna say 350 each. I only see it going up as winter goes on.
That's kind of where with the heating oil
We can lock in on that at
and
some point,
propane's
yeah.
gonna go.
No, you cannot,
No.
we're gonna put out the.
We lock in on home heating oil and
And
propane.
now it's.
This is a
we're into
gamble.
October, so we're ready to put that
Yeah.
out.
I would honestly say that if we didn't put at least 50 cents on them two numbers, we would be amiss.
I'm gonna say 350.
I was gonna say more like 3 1/4, but
That's where I was at, 3 1/4 and 3.
each.
Oh, 3 1/4 each?
Yep.
You could,
I'm
Their
fine with that.
prices are getting volatile in the past, just the local
I'm
areas.
okay with that, and they're talking heat and oil shortages, so,
Yeah.
you know, and
I'm
that's
just thinking
and that's
supply
number
chain
2
right now is gonna be just a freaking
You
nightmare.
wanna
This-
set both prices the same at
at 3 1/4.
3 1/4?
I think so. Is that the consensus of the board?
Sounds good.
yeah,
Yeah.
gas comes in at less, say it comes in
Yeah.
at 315.
The two of them can wash over, I
Wash
think.
over each
yeah.
other, yeah, that's what I thought.
Hasn't slowed down the fuel chain. There's ships coming into Portsmouth, I can tell you that. They're coming in hot and heavy.
Oh, I'm sure, but
I'm more worried about the trucks taking them out of Portsmouth and
Yeah.
delivering,
that too.
especially with the new CDL laws that are
Well,
slated to
February
take.
7th, but they're
Yep.
talking about pushing them off again, and they just
They're gonna
changed.
have to.
They just changed some other stuff like hours of
That's a discussion
service.
for another day.
I think the 3 1/4 is probably a more realistic number for both.
Yeah, plus the 50 cents tax on top to put in our minds what we're, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be close, I think. And I think we will be close even with that number, I think. But I'm hoping that, like, you know, the gas
hoping
and
you
the
guys
diesel
are
will
When I
wash.
When I see, you know, the public paying,
Yeah.
not even
Almost
Friday,
4.
was anywhere from 304 to 309, and now it's anywhere from 316 to 349.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
it's quite a jump in about 4 days.
Yeah, you're telling me. Okay. All right.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's about
That's
the
a
way
great
that wraps
to
that
start
up.
budget
is ouch.
season.
Yeah,
That ouch.
ouch, yeah. Well, welcome to budget season, period.
Retirement system was big out.
Not that-
Too. All right,
That's it?
that's it?
That's it?
Oh,
Beth, do you have
Thanks,
any-
Beth.
thank you.
Beth, do you have any idea where the tax rate may be set? When it will be set? I'm hoping by your November, was it the 1st? Or is that your,
Our next meeting?
How are we doing end of year percentages remaining
oh, remaining?
in departments?
Oh, we're doing great.
Good.
Okay,
We're doing good.
okay.
Most of it's due to vacancies. So if you know anyone who's,
Wants to work, period.
yes,
We'll just leave it at that.
please.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody across the state's in that boat. so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Quick 2-minute recess,
I suppose. You wanna,
or you can just continue without me, but
And me too.
no, we'll wait.
Take a recess.
I need to fill my water glass anyway.
Can I take a nap?
You guys can fill them
Take a nap, yeah.
out. And, I have somebody sets for Karen for the minutes, because I didn't get a say anything for the
Oh.
conversation.
Oh, okay.
For the conservation stuff, I never got anything to give to Karen. You won't have a clue
I
what you're
think
talking
that's all of
about.
it. Yeah, that's all of it. If you just wanna drop it in my box and she's done with it, it's fine.
Well, maybe I could turn the room back around.
Get everybody smiling
Oh,
face.
here, no, just Jack's.
Yeah.
There we go.
Everybody's smiling face. We gotta go a little
Cha-cha.
bit more, a little bit more.
There you go.
Go.
Yeah,
And you get John Van, yeah?
yeah. Yeah, 'cause this one spun around, see?
Yeah, that's right. That-
Yeah, a little
quite
deceiving.
pick up on
See,
it.
you lost another employee today?
Gonna, November.
Survive.
Can't get anybody to work. Everybody's paying these big incentives and still not getting anybody.
Not very cold though.
Well, you know, they're giving out too much money, the government, they keep dishing out shit money. Do it in
We have a heat shortage, it won't bother me a bit. Jesus.
But it was cool,
Good.
you know,
Just
the
check.
house was warm at home, but I'd been outside this afternoon, so I.
Certainly is warm enough in there.
I threw a jacket on, I didn't know how many.
I'm still holding out. I haven't
Well,
put the heat on yet.
first day today, I went out and I had 11 bluebirds on the feed. I
Always
kept
got
seeing
out
them
around
since
72.
last fall, last winter.
So we're back.
And you ain't got a chance.
Up to 76, if you could.
All right, there you go. All right. Brings us to the discussion to serve request for a volunteer for the Conservation Commission.
Just get
Sign the paper.
I am, shut up.
The abuse. The verbal
Keep
abuse.
that one off the minutes.
All right. Hi. All right, so we're back to Mr. Kirk and his request to serve for the Conservation Commission. And I think you spoke a couple weeks ago now, probably what, 4 weeks ago now it was? Month? Because you weren't here at the last meeting, and we're by, yes, all right, so yeah, so about a month ago. All right, anybody need any refreshers or any new questions for Mr. Kirk?
Would you like to speak again? It's up to you.
No,
I want to afford you the opportunity.
Thank you. I think I made the case. I think each of you has heard what I've had to say.
Okay.
I think you're prepared to vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so I will entertain a motion for, what is it, 3 year as an alternate? Is that correct? Mm-hmm. 3 years as an alternate?
Was it 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years as an alternate.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to put Neil Kirk as an alternate on the Conservation Commission for a 3-year period.
3 year period, okay. Is there a second? Fails a second, the motion is denied. The board thanks you, Mr. Kirk, for your interest. Brings us to the manifest. Order the treasurer to sign payroll accounts payables checks dated October 21st, 2021, as included in the following manifests. Payroll manifest of $65,801.86 for weekly payroll, and accounts payable manifest of $24,239.42. John Stark for $250,000, Ware School District for $250,000, for a total of $590,041.28. The following manifests were previously ordered to be signed at the October 4th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. A payroll manifest of $64,154.85 for checks dated 10/14, and accounts payable manifest for $45,282.10. I'm sorry, 1 cent? 10 cents. There's three past the decimal point. I'm going to go with 1 cent. Checks dated 10/14. And as there is no selectmen's meeting scheduled for October 25th, further order the treasurer to sign payroll checks dated October 28th, estimated to be about $75,000, and also further order the treasurer to sign the amounts of $90,000 for accounts payables that cannot wait until next scheduled meeting. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion in manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there 3 on everything, do you know?
Yes. Brings us to the minutes of the 4th. I think, again, I failed to open them before I came. I've been bad. Gonna get fired.
I didn't bring a copy.
That's the agenda, not the minutes. That's the minutes. All right, page 1. Anything on page 1? Page 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Brings us to the report.
Okay. The radio communication, you heard a little bit more tonight. So now we have to kind of take it from where we want it. Which is all gonna, I know, is all gonna be based on the whole ARPA thing, probably. Which I haven't had a chance to do much with, as you know. I had vacation time, so that's an open one for us. The forestry contract, I believe I gave you. On the 13th, the Conservation Commission looked at this new one, and they moved it forward. They said they were fine. I gave them the draft, and I gave them a copy of what Jeremy Turner had altered a little bit, which basically was adding his forester number changing the fee schedule a little bit, attending, it said 1 or 2 meetings, now says several. The only thing it doesn't have a blank for and is a length. We batted around a length of time.
In the past. right?
Yeah, you did at your last meeting, so I guess I need you to, what would you like the length of time?
I would feel safe at 5 years.
What's passed?
Well, we
Never
can
had that.
It's just
locate a
kinda-
signed one.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't get them.
This is basically putting us for our first signed one.
Right.
There's several contracts floating around, but none of them are signed.
None of them were signed.
Yeah.
I hate to keep asking about other towns, but what are other towns signing, getting a contract, and if so, are they getting a length?
I've never asked, but you.
I thought
you-
we did.
Well,
This one
Back
came from
when?
Northwood.
this, was it Northwood?
Northwood.
Okay.
Northwood, yeah.
I guess I would like to know if other towns are, I mean, if we're gonna go 5 years, that's fine, but I wanna be like kinda in the same ballpark as everybody else.
So what I was gonna throw out to you is,
They
I
were
can go
asking for
ahead and
10.
put it on the listserv,
They will ask for 10.
because we're already almost the end of October. There's no sense in starting one for now.
No.
I think we can find out what other towns do,
Mhm.
and then we can talk about it.
Right. Right, because I know 10 years was tossed around.
Yeah, that's what they wanted.
5 years was tossed around, 1 year was tossed around. I think we kind of met in the middle at 5, if I remember correctly, my memory serves me correctly.
You know, we batted around 3.
5 to 7,
I just wanna
yeah,
make sure we're at least in the middle
right.
somewhere.
I mean, I didn't like the fact of 10.
No, I wasn't, I don't think the board as a consensus was at 10, but I think we were pliable at 5.
I had 3 in my mind.
I had 3 too, and then I think we talked about it, and I said I'll
5.
go to 5. But
Yeah.
We've done between 3 and 5 for some.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just see what all the
Yeah,
other towns
yeah.
are. We're
Yeah,
in no
and,
hurry to
and I
get
was
this.
gonna actually urge you to just take it, study it, because
Okay.
here we are in October.
Yep.
I think we try to
Good
do it
idea.
the first part of the year.
Yeah.
To make it consistent with the calendar year.
yeah, sign at the end of December,
Okay.
effective January.
Tennis court, I think, John, I think we talked about it's still gonna be the spring, right?
Yeah, that is gonna be springtime.
CIP schedule, they finished on the 13th. And so what we're looking at is the planning board, sorry, catching up. Planning board to the 28th, 11:1 for our meeting, 11:10 to finance. I don't know if 11:10 will be correct, because finance is gonna have its first meeting on, October 27th.
Okay.
So, but it still has to hit 3 places. ARPA, I haven't got any more quotes, because I just haven't had the time to do that. Collins Cemetery, I put on here so that we don't lose it. Cemetery trustees, I have reached out a couple times. I was able to catch up with the chairman's wife, and he hasn't been replying to me because he's in the hospital.
We wish them the best.
Yeah, we do. We wish him the best, so I'm not gonna, I'll wait till he gets out. She wasn't sure when,
Okay.
but that's why we weren't getting an answer.
Okay, makes sense.
So I just wanted to do that. We have put the ad out. You probably saw it on Facebook. We saw it, we put it NHMA, we put it,
On the website.
actually, we've had some inquiries.
Good.
2 people came in today with applications.
Good.
So we'll get that going. 2022 budget presentations, I kind of have, looked at 11:1 to put the PD. He's pretty straightforward
Yeah.
with Jack on the CIP. On the 15th, I loaded you with the fire, library, and park. 12:6, Benji's got all 4 to do, and then the 12:20 will be done. I'm gonna get to the next one. I sent you a scanned package of information from the gentleman couldn't be here for the snowmobile club. I don't know if any of you, Sherry was there in person. But the gentleman, I have 3 extra copies here. If you guys don't, you guys have it on your phone or?
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Okay.
This is the duck pond.
Yeah, so basically, the snowmobile club got the boot on one parcel, which kind of has put a wrinkle in the trail system. We are no longer, we don't have any more permission, because we lost the use of Luke Drake's.
Got it.
So, that loses approximately 1/3, but he has met with the Forest Society and Jeremy Turner about this reroute. What we're also gonna do, and I'm gonna say it as we, meaning the Snowmobile Club, is we have a letter I sent you from Jock Belanger. Did I send you that one too? So we've hired Jock Belanger to do some surveying, and what he's gonna do is actually GPS the points through the new trail route, so we can put it on a plan and record the plan, so that it has a meets and bounds and description. But we don't have time to do it this year, so we were looking for what we call a temporary, I call it temporary, but it would have an expiration date of May 30th of '22.
Does this need a motion?
So we, just, so let me finish. So we would also ask that you just let them put, because it's a long ways in there to take, we have to sign it, we have to do some other things. That's why he's also asked that they, he's had permission for the UTV or ATV from the society and the MTL to get our stuff in and out. So we would ask the same thing, but it would only be during.
Maintenance,
Right,
not,
for the maintenance, no, it's not,
it's
not
not
open
trail,
maintenance,
right.
Conservation's okay with this?
They were. Yep. So that's there. We'd like to get started because winter will be upon us, maybe. And he couldn't be here tonight, so he sent it and dropped it off here. I said May 1st, he said doesn't matter, April 30th. Whatever you, if you want to do that.
I have no problem with it,
I don't either.
No.
so I don't know if that's a motion or.
Well, I'd like to have a motion just in case somebody,
I'll make a motion that,
Before we do that, if we put May 1st, is that going to be too early for UTV, ATV access for maintenance?
well, when
Because
it's mud
if-
season,
I'm
we
just-
usually don't go in there.
Okay.
We would have to, some of our signs do come down.
I'm just
Some of our
thinking
signs
if
stay
we
up.
end up having like a really wet season or something like that, and we put May 1st, it's just, I just don't want to hamstring you with.
They're going in this fall to do the maintenance on.
Yeah, but it's the after to get the signs off and,
Oh.
because you don't leave it marked.
Forest Service only went till March 1st.
Yeah, I'm thinking May 30th, and the last day in May. But it's,
I mean, the request was for April 30th, so he's comfortable with
Okay.
that. He's trail administrator,
Okay.
trail master.
no, that's fine.
I would stick with what he'd asked for.
yes, May 1st, April 30th, yeah.
Okay. Didn't mean to
What is
interrupt,
it again?
Jack.
But I'd like, can I just add, so I'd like you to, I don't want, this is how I don't want it open. The snowmobile club's gonna maintain it, so it would, to allow the Where Winter Wanderers to use it. I don't wanna see,
ATV use.
ATVs and everybody go out there.
It's just for.
So it would just be granted to the snowmobile club, because what we will do is put the town on our trail list.
As
And then what happens
additional
is you
insured.
get an additional insured, right?
Yep,
But it's gonna be the snowmobile club, it's not gonna be, if you don't have permission,
Right, get
then you
lost.
don't, then you get fined by Fish and Game. But you're giving the permission to the Where Winter Wanderers for one season.
Right.
If that's what you're gonna do.
That's just for town property.
It's just for this,
Just for
the
this parcel.
pond. I think he put the number here.
Yeah, he did.
40.
All right, so, did you revise your motion?
yeah, I was gonna make a motion that we allow the Ware Winter Wanderers to have permission to use the existing roadway and town property off of Duck Pond Road, map 405, lot 52,
62, I think.
62 rather, as part of their trail system, and that this will take effect, on the,
Well, we'd like to get started.
or to
so
get
they're gonna
started, take effect
expire
immediately, and that it expires on, what, the 30th of
April 30th.
April of 2022.
Moved, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, yes.
Reading through the first letter, they mentioned roadway. Do we have to approve use of a roadway up Duck Pond too?
No. 'cause
No, it's just
No.
gonna be
No,
unloading, it's just gonna be
not Duck Pond Road.
unloading.
Okay, just want to make sure.
It's a wood road.
It's an old wood road, yeah, because the law won't let them use the roadway
Okay,
anyway,
just-
so.
like I said, just want to make sure.
Okay. Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So,
All right, I'm here, not here tomorrow, and then Friday, I have to go to Boston for a Bill's eye appointment. We haven't done that in 2 years, so we have to do that.
Oh, coming back's going to be fun.
Huh?
Coming back will be fun on a Friday.
I'm sure.
Boston Friday, yeah.
They did, so we're looking at we're getting quotes for the town, my office and the upstairs. Every morning, every weekend, you come in and there's flakes of paint everywhere on your desk. So whatever, it's either too warm or whatever, it's time to fix the ceilings. So Karen has done reached out to several contractors trying to get 3 quotes. Right now, we only have 1. I'm not gonna go through that, but I just wanted to let you know we are doing something there. The, Bolton and Ineson's roofs were done according to an email I got dated the 14th.
That's correct.
He was gonna do that.
I went and looked.
Okay, thank you. And then Eastware and the barn roof, he didn't get to do that on Saturday. I haven't got another date yet. Because it was back and forth. He told me he was waiting on Eversource. I said, I've had that done for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't have those done yet. Hopefully they're going to be done, I would say, in a week or so, while the weather's good.
Hopefully.
That's all I have, other than, I guess it's correspondence.
Yeah, and I want to see at the end as well.
Okay.
All right, that's all you had, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Move on to correspondence of the business.
We've gotten correspondence, if you guys have seen it.
Oh, multiple, yes.
Okay.
Mostly for the code enforcement department. Well, we got 2 or 3 now at least.
Well, we've got,
Regarding a Winter Road property, and
yep,
then we also received one for the Gettings area and,
Yeah, because you
and then out
didn't get up to
off
look at
Concord
it.
Stage.
no, and Congress Stage.
So, I don't know which one you want to talk about first. I can give you a little bit of some.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one on Winter Road, there was a question as to, he does have a stop work in order. He did sign the certified letter. I saw his signature on the certified letter today. So with the new complaint, if you would like, Romeo said he could go by tomorrow.
Yes, please.
Because I don't know what the answer is, because if you've got a stop work order, DES is waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, really what I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
because it's continued to be done.
Right.
I mean, I think it's time I drag Laura into it and say, what do we do with it?
I would agree.
Because if somebody's starting to put in footings and build things that they have got to stop work on, you know.
Let's see what Romeo sees.
And-
If he confirms or even comes close to confirming this, then we send him another letter with a daily fine until he complies.
Well,
That would be my
according to
thought.
Romeo, which I believe, you have to go to court to get the fine assessed.
Right.
But do I start that with Laura? It's local,
Yeah.
but,
I would say if Romeo gives you the nod that says, yes, things are moving forward still, then yes, we start it.
all right.
And if he can legally, grab photos, so we at least
Yeah,
have
we can
something to
get,
start with.
he can be there to.
From the
take
Class 6,
photos.
from the Class 6 way, he can.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, no, if he's there inspecting.
the
we can
building
see some
inspector
photos.
has the right to go on the property.
If
Yeah, but
there's a permit.
he's not inspecting because there's no permit.
But no, there's a
He's-
cease and desist order in effect, so he has the right to check to see if it's being followed.
Right. There's town documentation on
Yeah,
it.
it's documented.
Right.
Yeah, but I think we need at least get photos so we have a
Absolutely.
starting point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has he got a camera or has he got a phone to take pictures?
Yeah, smartphone or something, whatever.
But yeah, definitely reach out to
Click, click.
legal and see what our next steps are gonna be.
Yep. And then, I guess the next one would be Congress Stage.
Okay, so Concord Stage,
Yeah, in my old house.
I think I mean, I have to start with a letter. I know
Yep.
she wrote to Kelly and it came funneled to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've been out there because we went and checked out the Eastman.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised because there was permission granted through the ZBA for them to build a house. But I don't think they've done anything with building
I
a
went out
house. I
there
do
once
see
and
the
it was-
camper and all the cars.
There was a garage out there at one point, like a wooden structure out there at one point. I don't
Wasn't
know.
anything out there last time. that I-
Maybe.
Last time I went out there was no wooden
No,
structure.
I mean, this was a
is-
couple of years ago, I went up to there and it looked like there was a garage.
But there is a camper, I know, because we went out there. There is a camper there. There was nobody there, but there's evidence of living in a camper.
Yes.
There's no septic, there's no nothing, so I don't know.
She referenced to a mobile home, so I don't know if they've
Well,
upgraded it.
it was a camper, if I
Yeah.
recall. But there
Okay.
was a grill and some chairs out, an abandoned car,
John, you know where
but
the
nobody
property
was
is?
around.
So that's right there across from where the old post office was?
So what you do is you go down
Yeah, I used to live there.
I know.
A place that she's living
The
in
log
now.
cabin.
The log cabin, Jack used to live right there.
Yep.
This is just
So we
past
can
Jack's.
notify her, but her concern is real. Obviously, there's somebody
Yes.
living in there.
Right.
And there's
Town
no
owns
septic.
beyond that.
I mean, the thing is, even if somebody built a house and got approval to live up there, I mean, she's complaining about the road. That's a right of way.
It's a right of way.
Their driveway is actually at the opening in the stone wall to the house. The rest of it's a right of way that's granted to access that back property.
Right.
Plus it goes beyond into our property.
It does. It goes
Yeah,
into
and well, Sykes owned that first lot, because I remember I
Right.
tried to buy
Oh, yeah,
that.
we were all about that, yeah.
Yeah.
For a while.
I tried to buy that.
Because she makes a valid point, because she's like, I don't know what's gonna happen when the winter comes, and he plows, because he plows right into there.
Right,
You're not gonna be able to get in.
right,
Yeah, that's all I used
And
to
where's
do.
the waste going, and how are they heating it?
right.
So,
Did we, all right,
so
so,
we'll send a letter to the owners. Because I'll have to, I know they got a variance to build a house, but that's not a house.
no,
It's got no permission.
Right.
No septic system.
right.
Yeah, they haven't done
Okay?
the steps.
All right, we have another one too that I almost forgot, the excavation on Mount Wayne Pond.
Yes, Steve sent me one and asked him to go out to 47 Pondview
Mm-hmm.
to see, there's supposed to be a pole barn being erected. Romeo had his day scheduled before I got here, so. So I can ask if he could look at 47 Pondview.
Yeah, it was a call that Karen took, that, we're talking about the same one, right?
Could be.
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
October 7th?
So there was someone called in about going on at Pondview.
Yeah, about too close to the water,
Right.
excavator
Oh,
along the
yeah,
waterfront.
yeah, yeah, Yep, I know what you're talking about
Yep.
now.
And then I got an email, I believe from Steve, indicating that did they have a, did I know if they had a building permit? Steve Najar, because he lives there.
Yep.
He inquired if there was a building permit, and he gave me the number 47.
Is there a building permit?
I
know.
didn't get downstairs, because Wendy's not in on Mondays.
Well,
This is the one you're talking about.
if it's near, is this pole barn, you don't
Yes.
know probably, but it's gonna go up for anything, whether or not they want it right next to the water.
Well,
But
maybe-
I think,
maybe use a park
you know, I
vehicle.
think the overall consensus is, we're chasing things that, usually people know that the state and us are strapped, so they're just doing whatever they wanna do.
Right,
And it's very unfortunate.
absolutely.
And then there's other.
I mean, we're trying, the state's trying, I know the state's shorthanded as well as we are.
Yeah.
But things just continue to keep going, and I can't.
I mean, we get stuff going, and then we have places that we've given them specific
Well, I
permissions
just,
to
you
do, and
know,
they're doing above and
and part
beyond
of
what
me
they're not
wonders
supposed
if
to.
it's because people are home more now that they're noticing more, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
That's part of it too, more people are still working remotely.
And then we have all right, so, yeah. All right, and we have a third complaint up on Gettings.
So John and I talked today. John went out
I
there.
drove out there yesterday.
Yep.
If the property on the left is the one that they're complaining about with all the cars, vehicles, and fenced-in property, there's 4 or 5 vehicles parked beside the road that have all orange 22 stickers on them, so they're all registered. There's 2 inside the fence that have orange stickers on them, so they're registered. So, and there's a fence
Illegal.
around it. And the people that are complaining, there's no house either side of them. So, I mean, the people that are complaining don't live, they may abut them, but,
Okay.
I wonder if they're the ones that's got the excavator out doing some
well,
work.
that's it, just beyond there a little ways, it looks like they're putting a house in, they're putting there's an excavator up in
So
there.
all the
working.
vehicles are legally registered at
They
this
got
time.
orange 22 stickers on.
That's legally
There's no
registered.
limit on how many vehicles you can have on your
Yep.
property.
Thank God.
Registered property.
Thank God.
Yeah, registered vehicles.
I'd run
Yeah,
into
I mean,
problems.
as long as you don't have any more than,
Right.
was it 2 unregistered
It's
vehicles?
two.
And some
2
people,
unregistered vehicles, you're fine.
And tractors don't count, I don't think, right?
No,
I didn't think so.
Depending on size.
and like Naomi said today, some people
some of them
like
don't.
living that way. I mean, that's what the guy wants, how he wants to
It's
live.
unfortunate that it's a preference.
Yeah.
If you wanna just park them everywhere and pay for your registration, it's unfortunate.
Yep.
But, you know,
It's his
not
property,
everybody.
he can do that,
Mm-hmm.
as long as he's following all the rules
As
and
long as
laws.
it's not
But
unregistered.
is he parking in, I don't know, that's not a town road, it's a private road, so
What, Gettings is
the
private
right
road?
of way and
No,
whatnot
Gettings
wouldn't be
is,
anything.
Gettings isn't private, that's town.
No, it says
No, I believe it's.
not town maintained
Oh.
private road,
Yep.
no trespassing. Big yellow sign right at the end of it.
All right.
Not even a Class 6 road, so.
All right, and the last piece of correspondence that we have is we received a letter from
Wendy.
Rice announcing her retirement in December, right? It was December?
Yeah, she's gonna get
Officially
done
December.
November 18th, and then she's gonna begin, she's got the enrollment in Social Security to start December 1st.
That's right, I did see a December date, so.
Damn it.
We want to thank her for all her dedicated years here at the town, and her work to try and, get that
Oh,
straightened out.
yeah, and she's gonna stay through November to help us out.
Right, absolutely, and we appreciate that, so.
I think what I gotta do is reach out to Avatar,
Mhm.
because we
just-
have a contract with them. I
Yep.
think they're supposed to be here 2 days.
Yep.
Start making sure,
But
yeah.
I think, let's see where we go with, if there's positive from, if we get 2 and we
Yep.
get some inquiries. I think you're gonna get more applications, and see where we go with that.
Yep.
I think, though, the last piece of correspondence that we had was probably gonna be the sinkhole. That's growing, so.
It is.
I think that was definitely the open door, but, we as a town really need to iron that out as to whose responsibility is. And if it's ours, then we we start digging. If it's somebody else's, then we, assess it.
Well, I know the
accordingly.
state's view on it, like it's 15 feet off the center line.
Yeah, it's way off.
And it's way off of
It's
that,
on
so.
it's on the other side.
So
of
then
the
we need
power
to take
poles,
care of that
so
because there's gonna be a school
it's
bus in it.
And then the other
It's
thing,
huge.
well, the other part of it is, does that fall to the responsibility of the town, does it fall to the highway department, or does it fall to the responsibility of the school?
Well, we need to figure that out
Town
quick.
property.
Have you
That's-
seen that hole?
Yeah, I've seen the whole.
Have you looked in the hole?
Have you looked into it?
Yeah.
That hole goes
Oh, I
way
know.
beyond that white fence.
Yeah.
I don't know why, is there a culvert that collapsed, or was there drainage in there, but
Well, there's
mean,
drainage
the other
underneath
thing
that
Regardless, it's
school.
junk, and it needs to be attended to.
Right away.
Wherever we're at, it needs to be attended to right away, so
I mean, it should be town property that we allow the school to be built on.
we need to figure out,
It was the old fire station.
Yeah.
right,
I mean,
Yeah.
but
the
we
old
need to
fire
figure out
station and
whose
lot
pocket
next
it's
to
coming
it.
from and make it happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a Laura thing.
Well,
First thing we gotta do is
I-
find out what's there.
Why is it collapsing?
Yeah.
Well, that
I,
was
Well,
a lot
I
of-
agree
that-
from a
they put
financial
that in.
standpoint, we need
They
to figure
put-
it out, but we need to get it done. It's a safety issue at this
It's
point.
gonna be-
What
it's a
happens
safety
if
issue
kid
now.
falls
Maybe
in
digging
there?
up the whole
Yeah.
driveway, and they may not be putting the
Numbers and
buses
things like
through
that
there.
aren't gonna make a big difference.
Well, I mean,
Get it fixed.
It's gotta be fixed.
Yep, no
And
question.
either that or coordinate it off,
Yeah.
now.
Now,
But
they
if
said
it
that they
keeps
use
going-
this as their bus, their
That's
bus.
what
Yeah.
the buses.
They-
Let's get it fixed ASAP. We'll deal with the money later. I don't, it's a
Yeah.
safety issue.
Yeah.
Hell with the money at this point. We gotta get it fixed.
Yeah, so,
So you're saying that you want me to get
Let's
DPW
Ben-
over there?
Yeah, let's get
DPW.
Benji over there tomorrow if possible.
He's got the excavator.
at least to assess it and get equipment coming and,
figure out he could figure it out, what he's
Yeah.
gotta get.
Even
done.
if we can just do a temporary fix by dumping whatever he can in there. just
cutting
to-
up the asphalt, dumping it, filling
Well, they
it.
filled it with rocks once and then
They've
just
dumped stone
kept
to
right
it.
on going.
Yeah, but now it's way
Yeah.
beyond just putting
Oh, yeah.
all stone in.
You're
It's
gonna
it's gonna be
turn
ripped
around and
up
dig, you're gonna be into the driveway, into that
Yeah.
driveway, so you're gonna be shutting the bus.
significantly.
Until we tear it
But
apart,
it-
we don't know what we're getting into.
But
right
in
now.
this process, I think we need to be figuring out who's paying.
We do.
In the process.
Yes, but we need to get Benji over there ASAP.
I would agree.
Before they ever started that school.
Okay.
We cut all that
All right.
rain.
Storm drain out.
And,
And with a strong recommendation that until we can get Benji over there, no more buses on that. She's gonna have to come up with a number.
at least they stay up against the curb. Get all the vehicles out
Well,
of
see
the
what they
We don't
do
know
is
how
they,
deep it
they
is.
stagger the buses like this.
Yeah, we can't do that.
They can't do that.
They gotta be
They
nose
have a
tail.
single
They do
row.
now.
They gotta be nose tail.
And a lot of the time, they hug the fence anyway, so the kids can walk down along the sides of it when they got
Well,
a half a dozen
they
buses.
can't be against the fence anymore. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And that's gonna be a single buses coming,
Yeah.
a
I wanna
single
say-
row, not
They
staggered
just
buses.
shut it down until we can get it. We're
They
li-
got
if
9
something
buses
happens and a
between
bus
there.
falls into that thing,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
our ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
say
the other
shut
thing
it
is
down.
too, is it's well-known now, so. Yeah, I'm not opposed to
I don't
that.
think you can, I mean, they're gonna have to notify and reroute.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I'll get Benji out there.
yeah.
The rest of it's on the school to do that.
Benji digging a trench is gonna
let
solve
Benji
that
make
issue
this-
real quick, yeah.
Make the recommendation of
He's
what to
got all
do.
the cones that he can
Yeah, let Benji make the recommendation on what to do, as far as closing it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's right, this, I forgot, Sherry said there used to be culverts, I remember there was a storm drain.
floated
A couple
it.
of them right in front of the old firehouse where they used to,
Before they started that school.
what if they
Yeah,
dumped
yeah,
off the
they
trucks, they
put-
all
they
ran
put-
into the drains,
They
it's
They put
probably
8-inch
part of
floaties
that.
under it.
Think
Why
about
don't
it.
I mean, 8-foot floaties under it.
I think we have the school plans downstairs.
Oh, good.
We could dig them out.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a drainage plan in there.
I would think
There's
so.
gotta be a-
Yeah, that would definitely
There's
help.
three big,
Plan.
according to my nephew, there are three big 8-foot culverts underneath the paved
Driveway. in.
driveway. He does not feel that this is connected
To those.
to those,
What direction do
Drainage.
they go?
they go lengthways,
Up, down the road.
Did they,
up
Think
and down.
about this.
is that part of the new
Drain off
construction?
in.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure,
It had
yeah.
something.
Is that part of
Yeah.
the new construction, when they built the place?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh, there was
And then they did put some this way
drainage
too,
stuff put in
under
there.
the school.
right. But he doesn't think there's anything, where the hole is, there should be no pipes connected with
Okay.
the
I
That's
think
fine.
we need to look at
that
the
he
plans.
remembers.
All right.
Yes,
All right.
John Neville.
So I think we've,
I'm just fearful that things get extended.
yep, no, I agree. All right, anything else before we go on to C?
Just one thing, we haven't brought it up for quite a while, but individual living down on 77 and nothing's gone on down.
How's that working out?
Oh,
Haven't heard a
we had
word.
any coupons?
No, nothing?
No, he's still trying to sell it.
All right,
They all call here.
yeah.
I mean, we can try the eviction route, but I think it's gonna be.
Curious.
I think it's gonna be hard with
I think it's
COVID
gonna be
times.
a real net, right.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also
Well, now
too late
that-
I
now-
mean,
no, they've-
It's winter.
They've,
Winter too.
we've
No,
got a
it's
couple
already
weeks
done
till
it,
November
But
first.
I
You got
think
no
with the
November
times,
1st,
where's he
they
gonna
got- they
go?
got kids.
Right.
Where's he gonna?
Yeah. I think they,
Problem is
yeah.
everybody, you know, it's buyer beware, so everybody that asks a question about taxes and then they say they don't pay any, and that usually, the flag
Red
goes up and they
flag.
call.
Yeah, red flag. Yeah, I was just curious, we
No,
haven't
he
brought
doesn't
it up
pay, he
for
has
quite a while.
coupons, he doesn't pay, but.
So while we're here, we've never talked about the schedule. We're gonna stick on first, third, and
Well, I
as
think,
needed.
I think so.
I think we're moving towards budget season. I think we need to meet more often, myself.
I don't think we do.
When I put together the schedule, I based it around first and third,
Yeah, that's what you've done
and I
here.
put everybody in.
Yeah, and everybody's in there, so.
Everybody's in.
All right, I mean,
I
if
think
that's the
it's been
consensus of the
working
board.
good. We meet in between if
If we
as
need it, we
needed.
meet in
Okay.
between.
I mean, the budget season, that is, between what Beth and Naomi does, the budget season is nothing what it was 4 years ago when I first came on here.
Oh, I know, and then we revisit, but, I mean, I think you all have understood it too better, which makes.
Oh,
it's-
all
it's,
the, and the
you know,
department heads are getting
Better with
more
it.
tuned
haven't
into
had a
it,
change in
so.
that, Really, but I am
No,
gonna
we
have
do with the
Parks and
police,
Rec,
but.
I am gonna have Parks and Rec come, I am gonna have the library come, I think those are important, there's importance there for them.
Okay, that's fine. That's a consensus of the board. That's what we'll do.
Is getting the budget on December 20th too late for all the rest of the stuff?
No, you have till January 20-something.
Enough time to get it or hear from Finance Committee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I usually take up either their last week or their first meeting, and then we're done. Because we have to finalize everything by the 20. January.
Isn't it the third week of
20,
January?
I think the 31st. 31st.
That's January.
So our goal is, like last year, is to finish, prior to year end like we did last year.
Sounds good. All right, anything else?
No.
So what's gonna be the schedule for December if we stick with our every other week?
Well, let me find December, cancel. December would be 6 and 20,
6 and 20, yeah.
because Christmas is a Saturday.
Yeah, that works.
And as I said, very, first and third and others as needed is what I tell
Yeah.
people, just like you guys want to meet Thursday night. You guys just did it,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
We're trying to be agreeable with everybody. It's not being difficult.
Okay with it.
Anything else? All right, in the essence of my sanity, move to adjourn.
Nope.
Second.
I'm not doing the C. I'm not gonna
Okay.
do it tonight.
All right,
I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
okay.
All right,
Second.
thank you. Yeah, everybody, yep.
Yes.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay,